So good afternoon, dear students. Today is the 13th of October, 2023. We continue with our lecture on ethics. So yesterday, what did we see? Social contract? What did we see? Okay. So today we are going to see social contract. Did we see social contract? Yes. So we completed social contract. Today we are going to see utilitarian ethics. Utilitarian ethics. Yes, coming. The end may justify the means. Okay. The end may justify the means as long as there is something that justifies the end. The end may justify the means as long as there is something that justifies the end. Leon Trotsky. The end may justify the means as long as there is something that justifies the end. As long as there is something that justifies the end. Leon Trotsky. So we are going to see the basic tenets or principles of utilitarianism. Okay, what are the assumptions? So first, it belongs to consequentialist school of ethics. Now, what is consequentialist school of ethics? Huh? What is consequentialist school of ethics? Huh? Consequentialist school of ethics क्या है? एक दिन में भूल गए. अभी 2 दिन पहले ही पढ़ा था ना. क्या है consequentialist school of
Action.
action and outcome? What action?
Action.
So basically, consequentialist, or it is also called as teleological, right? See, आप लोग 2 दिन के अंदर भूल गए. You all forgot. So consequentialist, which focuses on the consequence of the action or the outcome. Okay, not on the duty. Duty is deontology. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so we focus on the consequence of the action, right? So that is called so this utilitarian theory, it basically belongs to the school. That means it focuses on the consequence of the action, where the proponent focus on outcome. So their basic focus is on what? On the outcome or the consequences. That might be. That one. So it focuses on the consequence. Okay. So origin is in the 18th century. We have Jeremy Bentham. We have David Hume. Okay. We have Jeremy Bentham. We have David Hume. These are the main proponents of this. John Stuart Mill and Peter Singer. John Stuart Mill or J.S. Mill and Peter Singer. Okay, these are the important proponents. These are the important proponents of utilitarian theory. Jeremy Bentham, David Hume, John Stuart Mill, Peter Singer, all belonging to the 18th century. Okay, so utilitarianism, it is more concerned about the consequence of it for all concerned. So basically, their main thing is that everything, though man is motivated by self-interest, but more than self-interest, he's motivated for the interest of everyone else together. Okay, are you following? Generally motivated for the sake of others. That is utilitarianism. So to be precise, utilitarian ethics, one will judge. When you are judging utilitarian, you will judge the action. Okay, utilitarian ethics will judge an action, law, or system as right or wrong, virtue or vice, only from the consequence. That means it will judge an action only from right. It will judge as right or wrong, whether an action is right or wrong. Okay. Whether it is a virtue or a vice, it will judge based on what? Only from the consequence or the utility. Did you follow what I said? Only from the consequence and the utility of that action. So based on the consequence of that action, it will judge whether it is right or wrong. It will not base anything else. Did you follow it? Yes, yes. Outcome is good or bad, then too, based on the consequence. Whatever is the outcome, basically it has to be good only. Okay. Now, let us see what utilitarian is. Did you follow it here? The main proponents, the names of the thinkers, you have got it. Now, what is utilitarianism? Basically, what is this utilitarianism? So we see it is a straightforward method for deciding a course of action. Straightforward method for deciding a course of action based on utility. Okay, deciding a course of action for deciding morally right course of action for any particular situation we may find ourselves. So supposing now how, if we discover what we ought to do in any situation, first we have to identify what are the various courses of action. That means for any given situation, what are the various courses of action? Action 1, action 2, action 3, action 4. Any situation is there. There are various courses. Okay, we are going to decide that various courses we could perform. Then we decide what are the foreseeable benefits with each of this and which has the maximum benefit. Did you follow? That is what the principle of utilitarianism. That means we will see the various outcomes and based on that which has maximum benefit, we will choose that. That is what utilitarianism. That means GHGL at the end. Did you follow what I said? Yes or no? That means it should result, the action should result everybody. Everybody should be benefited by the action. Follow? Greatest benefits after the cost have been taken. So, greatest happiness, greatest number or maximum number, maximum happiness, maximum number. Okay. Follow? So, you have to see all the benefit and harm which an action will derive, and then you will choose the best action which provides the greatest benefit. So, in the notion of consequences, utilitarian includes all of the good and bad produced by the act. So that means whether the act produces good or bad, that is inconsequential. It will include both the good and the bad that the action produces, but which produces maximum good, okay, the consequences. Did you follow what I'm saying? Now there are certain principles which we have to see. Principle of utility. First principle, principle of utility. Principle of utility. One should always do something which has more utility or usefulness for all others concerned. Right now. Principle of utility. One should always do something which has more utility or usefulness for all others concerned. One should always do something which has more utility or usefulness. One should do something which has more utility. Okay. One should do something which has more utility or usefulness for all others concerned. So this is the first principle. Second, principle of greatest happiness. It should bring greatest happiness to the greatest number. Okay, that is the second principle. And third is principle of equality. Principle of equality. That means interest of everyone affected by an act should be considered like any other like or interest. Okay, interest of everyone affected by the act should be considered like any other act. Now, first we will study David Hume's theory of utilitarianism. I will follow the three principles. Principle of utility, one should do something which has no utility. Second is GHGN. And third, principle of equality. Interest of everyone has to be taken into consideration. Will you follow? All of you? Yes? Now let us study David Hume's theory on utilitarianism. What David Hume says. So he's considered one of the greatest proponents or propagators of utilitarianism. David Hume. Okay. So according to him, ethics is how one must live and what one ought to be doing. Ethics is how one must live. So David Hume says, what is ethics? Ethics is how one must live. How one must live and what one ought to be doing. What one ought to be doing. Did you follow? How one must live and what one ought to be doing. Okay. Second observation he makes is regarding human reasoning. So first he describes what ethics is. Second he says human reasoning. So he says that human reasoning is not an equal motivator to everybody to perform ethical action. Did you follow what I'm saying? He says that human reason does not motivate people to do ethical things. He says apart from human reasoning, there are feelings, there are emotions, there are passions. So they have to be considered, not just reasoning. Unlike the natural law theorists, unlike the social contract theorists, you follow? There is a difference in what he says. So he says that reasoning by itself does not motivate anybody. So he says there needs to be feelings, passions, emotions. Are you following what I'm saying? So he says that there are numerous occasions where one knows what one must do. He says that there are numerous occasions where one knows what one must do, but they are not able to do it. Like you all. No? You all know you all have to study, but you all don't study. Best example, ना? दूसरा example देने की जरूरत नहीं. हाँ? बराबर ना? कितने घंटे पढ़ते हो आप? 5 to 6 hours. 5 से 7, 8 हो गए. आप कितने घंटे पढ़ते हो? 5 hours. बाकी टाइम क्या? You're going to college. Then why you are not studying more than 5 hours? How many hours? 2 hours. He's studying 12 hours. That's why he's come up. You are studying how many hours? What is your name? Both of who's Vaishnavi? You also are Vaishnavi. She is also Vaishnavi. तो सब लोग का यूटिलिटी अलग अलग है. कोई 5 घंटा पढ़ता है, कोई 2 घंटा पढ़ता है, कोई 8 घंटा पढ़ता है. Followed or no? So he says that one knows what one must do, but does and cannot accept to do it. For example, losing weight. So he gives an example. One knows one must lose weight, but does not get motivated to do it. So he's right what he's saying. So one knows one must study, but they are not motivated to study. Yes or no? So he says there are strong desires and feelings which drive the individual to motivate them or demotivate them. So now I told Vaishnavi answer is not good. So she is demotivated. So now she is not ready to study. Huh? No what no? तुम्हारा चेहरा देख के बोलते हैं. हाँ. Followed or no what I'm saying? So what is good is good. What is bad is bad. I'm not going to praise you falsely. You understand what I say? Okay. UPSC आपको मतलब ऐसे भी ऊपर, they are not going to take you and put you directly on the seat. No, they will not do that. Okay. If you are deserving, you will surely be. If not, you will not be. There is no other this thing to it. You understood what I said? So according to Hume, ethics cannot be based on reason and rationality. So you can see he's completely contradictory to Aristotle, to Thomas Aquinas, and to the social contract thinkers. You understand what I'm saying? So he says ethics cannot be based on this. Okay? Ethics guides what should one do, that is direct action. Since actions are motivated by feelings and sentiments, ethics too is guided by them. Okay? Hence Hume's theory goes against human rationality. Hence David Hume's theory goes against rationality. Did you all follow or not follow what I'm saying? Yes or no? Now he uses two words. Is not equal to ought concept. Is not equal to ought concept. That means is not equal to ought concept. Hume's theory says that an individual is motivated not just by rational thinking, sentiment. He uses two words, is and ought, to describe the theory. Ethics guides individual how to take a decision. That means ethics will guide us how one should take a decision. Yes or no? It also ultimately tells us how one should live a life. It is about doing the right thing. Thus, ought means how one should be like and must act ethically. You understand the difference between is and ought? Yes or no? Or not understood? What ethics is? What is ethics? According to you? See, whenever we try to find out why we do something, that means we are trying to find the is. Why it is. So that uses reason, yes or no? But when it ought to be that way, it has to be. It is not that way, but it has to be that. You're following what I'm trying to tell you. So is means that the reasoning tells us that why we should do. Every person tries to reason why this has to be done this way only. Why this has to be done that way only. That is the is part of it. Reason. Okay. But the odd part is the feelings, the emotions, the other things which come into play. Followed or not followed? Still. Yeah? Yes or no? So though the reason is there, but finally it is dependent on the feelings and instincts, according to him. You follow what I'm saying? So according to him, though the reason is there, but then too it is driven by what? The feelings and the sentiments and the emotions. So he says reason is a slave of sentiments and emotions. Okay, now which is very contradictory to what the other thinkers say. It's completely contradictory. If reason becomes slave, then we are only driven by sentiments and emotions, if you go to see. But that is not the truth. You follow what I'm saying? Okay. Did you follow what I'm saying? So reason is and ought is how it should be. So is not directed by ethics. Ought is the way ethics is practiced, but is how it should be. Okay. Now Jeremy Bentham. So David Hume is over. Now Jeremy Bentham. What Bentham says. So Jeremy Bentham connects the concepts of feelings and utility. Jeremy Bentham, he connects whatever this Hume has said, he's taken it up from there. It is the basic understanding that feelings drive humans, which is elaborated by Bentham. So he says feelings drive human, no doubt about that. Okay. Humans categorize feelings under two categories, good or bad. Every human being categorizes feelings under good or bad, according to Bentham. Good feelings are those which give happiness. Okay. Bad feelings are those which they give us pain. Correct or no? Good feelings give us happiness, bad feelings give us pain. So this needs to be accepted, this needs to be avoided. Basically, happiness means pleasure. That is what he's talking about. Did you follow what I'm saying? So he says that whatever gives us pleasure, we should go after that. Whatever gives us pain, we should avoid that. That is in simple what Jeremy Bentham is trying to tell us. Okay. So it is causes pain. So Bentham's utility concept is based on nothing but hedonism, which we had seen before. Yes or no? Hedonism. It means pleasure, which can also mean that humans are generally pleasure seekers. That means they only seek to maximize their pleasure. They try to do acts which maximize their pleasure and minimize their pain. Utility or usefulness is based on a particular law. Act or rule is good or bad based on consequences. It is good if it has good consequences which bring happiness and pleasure rather than pain. So if any action or consequences bring maximum happiness or pleasure, that action is good. If it brings pain, it is bad. Did you follow? Any policy which brings happiness, it is good. If it brings pain, it is bad. Are you following what I'm saying? So according to him, based on this simple logic, we can distinguish between good and bad. So we feel not only about ourselves, but we feel for others too. So like for example, they have given the example of Nirbhaya case. So when we hear about the Nirbhaya case, we do have anger feelings, right? So we will feel sorry for the family. Hmm? So what is happy life according to Jeremy Bentham? Which is based on pleasure. What is happiness according to Aristotle? Huh? Aristotle. Hmm? Aristotle. कल ही पढ़ा, अभी भूल गया आज। झालं झालं. अरे कॉन्टेम्पलेशन ऑफ द इटर्नल ट्रूथ, कल ही तो पढ़ा था ना. तुम लोग ऐसी क्लास में आते हो विदाउट रीडिंग एनीथिंग. नो. You all don't read and don't prepare anything. Just you all come. Yesterday we just seen now what Aristotle said. So much time I discussed about Aristotle. I told you all about this thing, his principle of equality, his principle of happiness. That time I told you all also about GHGN, opposite, that we will study when Jeremy Bentham says. हाँ, क्या पढ़ते हो फिर आप? Difficult, very difficult. Utility and equality. So utility's concept is based on feelings, not only for us, but towards others. According to this concept, there is no difference between happiness and misery we face and others encounter. Therefore, feelings of others are as important as our own feelings. Now, actually speaking, he has this quantified. Do you understand the quantification? Quantification का मतलब नहीं समझते हो? What is your name? Sagar. हाँ. What is your name? Mohit. So Mohit and Sagar, now they both get hurt. Sagar gets hurt by a bike accident. Mohit gets hurt by something else. Maybe his mother hit him. Okay. So now is the pain of both of them same? But according to Jeremy Bentham, it is the same. That is called quantification. That means the pain Mohit experience and Sagar experience is the same. There is no quality. भले ही उसको मतलब he got beating from his mother and he got to an accident, he got the pain. But according to Bentham, the pain is the same. Pain, दोनों में pain हुआ ना, बात खत्म. That's the thing. You understood what I'm saying? So he has not qualified it, he has quantified it. जितना ज्यादा pleasure हो गया, now is Pushpin as good as poetry? You know what is Pushpin? पुष्पिन एक गेम होता है जहाँ पे वो बच्चे लोग ऐसे they put into that, you know, those strings which are there. They play the game like abacus. Have you seen mathematically? It's like that kind of a game. So he's saying Pushpin is equal to poetry. Do you agree? So what pleasure we derive from Pushpin, same pleasure we get from poetry. ऐसा Bentham बोलता. You understand what I'm saying? Do you think it's the same? Do you think reading a book of ethics is as good as watching a movie? You understand what I'm saying? It's not the same, but he says it is the same. Both give pleasure, so it is same. You followed what I'm trying to tell you. So that's the meaning is that they are not. He's not trying to qualify. He's trying to quantify. This was his mistake. J.S. Mill qualified it. He modified utilitarianism and said this is not correct. We need to have quality. Quality of life is more important than quantity. तो जो जिससे ज्यादा मैक्सिमम प्लेजर मिलता है उस चीज को हमको करते जाना चाहिए. तो स्मोकिंग करने से ज्यादा प्लेजर मिलेगा तो स्मोकिंग करते जाना चाहिए. I mean, that is the law of Bentham, what Bentham is saying. You understand? So this does not give us, so you can see that. So therefore, he's called, it is better to be Socrates dissatisfied than a pig satisfied. समझ में आया? कुछ नहीं समझ. तो his philosophy is called by the critics, या जिसने उसको criticize किया उसको पिग्स philosophy बोला है. You know pig, no? You don't know what is pig. Pig, where it goes in all the dirt and this thing, it rolls, right or no? So he's saying the thinkers are criticizing Jeremy Bentham And saying means by doing all this, they are telling you are as good, your philosophy is as good as a pig's philosophy. आपको समझ में आया कुछ मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ? Because he has not quantified, he has not qualified it, he has quantified it. So he is equating anything. So that's why they have criticized it. इसी के वजह से J.S. Mill ने इसको modify किया. Followed what I'm saying? Yes or no? Okay. So you understood what Jeremy Bentham is saying? So he says there is no difference between happiness and misery we face and others encounter. Therefore, feelings of others are as important as our own feeling. Thus, as per utility principle, we have to do what is best, not only for us, but for everybody concerned. Because there is not much difference between our well-being and others' well-being, which he has equated, okay, which I told you is not correct. I gave you an example. So utility involves impartiality and equality. It gives prominence to the concept that all humans are equal. In this sense, he makes everybody equal because he is not differentiated. You understood? So in this concept, he has made everybody impartial and equal. Everybody experiences pain, so the pain of everybody is same. Now, is the pain of all of you same? No. Is the level of all of you same? No. You understand what I'm saying? Yes or no? Okay. So did you all follow now? Utilitarian theory. Hmm? Let us see deontology. So understood utilitarian theory. In law, a man is guilty when he violates the rights of others. Write down. In law, a man is guilty when he violates the right of others. In law, a man is guilty when he violates the rights of others. In ethics, he is guilty if he only thinks of doing so. Did you follow what I said? In law, a man is guilty when he violates the rights of others. In ethics, he is guilty if he only thinks, even if he thinks, he's guilty. According to deontology ethics. Did you follow? Statement is given by Immanuel Kant. Now we come across another great thinker, Immanuel Kant. Kantian principles. Huh. In law, a man is guilty when he violates the rights of others. In ethics, he is guilty if he only thinks of doing so. That means even उसने सोचा भी तो भी वो गलत है. Law किसको guilty hold करता है when somebody violates the rights of somebody else. But in ethics, it is not like that. Even if you think of doing so, you are guilty. Did you follow? Just the thought. Yes or no? So let us see the basic tenets of deontology ethics. As you know, deontology comes from the word deon, which means duty, doing one's duties without worrying about the consequence or the outcome or the action. Okay, doing one's duty. So the basic tenets of deontology. The first tenet is individuals should be respected. They should not be treated as means to an end. All individuals should be respected according to Kant, one of the greatest thinkers of deontology ethics. All individuals should be respected. They should not be treated as a means to an end. Human beings should not be treated as a means. Human beings should not be treated as a means to an end. Okay, so all human beings should be respected. They should not be treated as a means. If you look at Jeremy Bentham, he is using everyone as an end. Human beings, he's using them as a means. Did you follow what I'm saying? Because he's making them as a sole this thing of pleasure. So he's using them as a means. You understood what I'm saying? So there is a difference between Kant and Jeremy Bentham. समझ में आ रहे? Okay. Deontology is duty-centered ethics. It is duty-centered. Deontology is duty-centered ethics. Okay. It focuses on duty. Deontology considers duty as an obligation. Deontology considers ethics as duty. Sorry. It considers ethics as a duty, an obligation, or a principle to be followed. Deontology considers ethics as a duty, an obligation, and a principle to be followed. Did you follow what I said? Yes or no? Hmm? Okay. So it is a non-consequentialist ethical concept, which it is a non-consequentialist ethical concept, which focuses on the duty rather than the act. Sorry, which focuses on the act rather than the consequence. Focuses on the act rather than the consequence. So is everyone bound to do some duty? Yes or no? Tell me what are the duties you all are supposed to do? Huh? I can't hear. Study hard. What are the duties you all are supposed to do? What is your name? Harsiddhi. What are the duties you're supposed to do, Sagar? Hmm. अरे घर पे कोई ड्यूटी है कि नहीं तुम लोग को? हाँ? तुम लोग डायरेक्टली बाहर आ गए है ना? घर पे कोई ड्यूटी है क्या? क्या ड्यूटी है? झाड़ू मारना. हाँ? रिस्पेक्ट पेरेंट्स. फिर अजून काय काय दुसरं ड्युटी नाही? त्याला काय विचारतो? अच्छा. Okay. So Immanuel Kant says that all of us have duties, obligations, or functions, whatever you can call them. We perform our duty towards the nation, towards our parents, towards our friends, towards our siblings, towards our workplace, towards the society, so on and so forth. Okay. There are general duties. One should not lie. One should not kill others, right? So basically, who tells us what is the correct duty to be performed? Who tells us? Huh? A guardian. Parents and teachers, they tell you the duty. So they tell you go and kill. Huh? So who tells basically? So the theological thinkers say it comes from. तुम लोग एक काम करो, तुम लोग ना मेमोरी का पिल्स लेना शुरू करो. शंख पुष्पी करके आता है, दवाई वो ले लो. क्योंकि तुम लोग दिन भर मोबाइल पे रहते हो, इसलिए तुम लोग का कंसंट्रेशन कम हो गया. कल ही मैंने बोला था थियोलॉजिकल. Yesterday I just told you, not even 24 hours have passed. इसका मतलब कंसंट्रेशन डाउन. हाँ, ऐसा है क्या? इतना सब कुछ आपको याद रखना है यूपीएससी के लिए, तो वो कैसे याद रखोगे कंसंट्रेशन अगर तुम लोग का नहीं है तो? ये थिंकर तुम लोग को बोर लग रहे. हाँ, हमेशा काय काय समजते का मी काय बोलतो? हाँ, कल ही तो मैंने बोला ना व्हाट आर द थियोलॉजी का. आई सेड ना यस्टरडे. हाँ, व्हेन दैट इज द वर्च्यूज, व्हाट थियोलॉजी मीन्स. सो दैट मीन ड्यूटी कम्स फ्रॉम वेयर?
Hello, hello,
हाँ
hello.
हाँ, हेलो.
So initially, like duty is imposed via religion,
ड्यूटीज इम्पोज.
enforced via religious scripture and norms and so on.
सो ड्यूटी कम्स फ्रॉम गॉड. कुछ समझ में आ रहा है क्या मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ? yesterday only I said theology. What did I say? So theologists say what? So, but according to Kant, duty does not come from God. इसलिए तुम लोग सब लोग मेमोरी पेल्स लो. You understood what I said? हाँ, सच में मेमोरी पेल्स लो. I have seen now all students, तुम लोग below the age of 30, सब लोग का मेमोरी गायब है. They don't remember nothing. I'm not joking. आप लोग के लिए बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है ये. It's nothing to laugh. It's a serious matter for you. You are not able to remember. Don't you all think that? कल पढ़ा आज भूल गए, ऐसे क्या? ये क्या पढ़ाई है ये? कल सुना बात है आप भूल गए. So why it is happening like this? Mohit, why it is happening? Don't know. Because whole day you are on mobile. Not only you. That's why. So the waves which are emitting is choking your brain. That's the answer. not less than 5 to 8 hours you are spending on mobile. Right or wrong? How you can study? कैसे तुम लोग पढ़ सकते हो बोलो मुझे. अगर मैं गलत बोल रहा हूं तो बोलो. वो आजकल मोबाइल दिखाता भी है स्क्रीन टाइम, यू नो ना, how much screen time you have. Now there are apps also to reduce your screen time, to increase your screen time. So many things are there. So that's why you are not able to concentrate. You are not able to remember, not able to recollect. One thing which is told immediately, you are not able to figure out. Yes, this. So you have to work on it to come out of this. Okay. So make a habit of reading. If you stop the mobile now, you engage in some good activity, then it will automatically, your memory will come back. समझ में आ रहे हैं कुछ क्या तुम लोग को? इधर एनसीईआरटी बुक है क्या? हाँ, anyway, we'll come to that at the end of the lecture when sir comes. So instead of you wasting time on the screen, better for you to read. Okay, only by reading your memory will come back. So coming back to Kant, Kant says that it is not on God. Theologians rely on God. They say through divine law, God has given these duties. Yesterday only we seen, okay? So he says that he is the first philosopher who says that it is not on God, but it is our reason. It is our reason which decides what is good and what is bad, okay? So he is the most important thinker of deontology ethics. So what are his ethics? He focused on ethics and the philosophical ethics as philosophical study of moral action. Philosophical study of moral actions. So Kant says he has called it, he proposed something called as a moral law, which he called it as categorical. ये समझ में आया आप लोग को deontology ethics के connects. So he has said something that is called categorical. He called his moral law as categorical imperative. He has given the term for that title. Not to get afraid what word he has used. So he has given the term categorical imperative. And UPSC loves to ask Kant. Kant is one of their famous and popular thinkers. Okay. Stating that morality is derived from rationality. So he says morality comes from what? Our reason or rationality. It does not come from God. Okay. Whereas the natural law thinkers say morality comes from God. Kant says morality does not come from God, it comes from our reason. Okay. And all moral judgments, that means jitne bhi hum log moral judgments pass karte hain, they all come due to reason. They can be reasoned out. Did you follow what I'm saying? What Kant is saying? Yes or no? So what is right is right. What is wrong according to Kant. That is, there is no gray area. In between नहीं है. जो right है वो right है according to Kant. जो गलत है वो गलत ही है according to Kant. There is no middle area. Did you follow what I'm saying? What Kant is saying? So human beings are obligated to follow this imperative or this command unconditionally. That means without condition they have to follow this. That is what he says. Okay. If they are to claim to be moral. So if any human being is supposed to claim that he is moral, he has to follow this command or this imperative unconditionally without any excuse. Have you followed? Now let us see what all Kant says with regard to his assumptions. So Kant disagrees with the concept that God has given certain duties to be performed. He says that rationality makes us moral beings, not God. Okay. Our reason will make us into moral being. Secondly, rationality determines our nature. Rationality determines our nature. That means only through reason we can understand what our duty is. Third, rationality determines our freedom. That means we are independent to take a decision. Rationality determines our freedom. Fourth, animals behave on instinct. They do not think. They are not rational. Therefore, can animals be held responsible for their actions? No. So according to Kant, they cannot be held responsible. Fifth, did you follow what I said? The fourth point, animals are not rational. They cannot think. Therefore, they cannot be held responsible for actions. Fifth, according to Kant, feelings or emotions has no role to play with being ethical. Now, who said feelings and emotions have a role to play? We just seen before this. David Hume and Bentham. We know that more than Bentham, it was Hume. David Hume who said that feelings and emotions, rationality. So can you see the thinkers are talking opposite to each other? You're following what I'm saying? Okay. So according to Kant, feelings or emotions has no role to play with being ethical. Ethics is thus based on what? On rationality. Followed? According to Kant, rationality and reason command people. That means people are guided by rationality and reason, not by God. According to Kant, rationality and reason command people. Therefore, people have a duty. So according to him, there are various types of commands. 7. There are various types of command according to Kant. So he distinguishes between two types of commands or imperative. You can call them imperative or commands. One is categorical and another is hypothetical imperative or hypothetical command. Absolute commands or imperatives are called as categorical commands. Absolute commands or imperatives are called as it has to be obeyed. There is no if and no but. It is prescriptive. Absolute commands or imperatives are called as categorical. Kant says consequentialist concept. Remember, Kant is which thinker? Is he a consequentialist? He is a deontologist. He is not a consequentialist thinker, right? He is a teleological thinker. Sorry. He is a deontologist thinker. So he is saying that teleology or consequentialist concept is based on hypothetical imperative, not on categorical. Because it is based on a consequence, right? And consequence can be different for different contexts. Yes or no? Whereas in his case, he says it cannot be different. It will be the same. Did you follow? समझ में आ रहा है या नहीं आ रहा है? Now, what are the principles which are to be applied in categorical imperative? So, what is categorical imperative? It has to be obeyed. It's absolute command. So, what are the principles in categorical imperative? Let us see. So, he has given us certain principles. First is principle of respect to autonomy. Principle of respect to autonomy. What do you mean by autonomy? Autonomy means self, be able to do everything by self. So autonomy is based on human capacity to direct one's life. To direct one's life, you are able to direct your own life. Direct one's life. How? Through our rational principle, right? Principle of universality. Second principle, he says, is the principle. That means it is universal. This principle is universal. Act from the personal laws which you can at the same time consider them to be Universally applicable. It is not just at one place, one time, but universally applicable. Principle of correspondence. That what we know and experience in our lives here on earth can be used to understand finer and smaller as well as larger and grosser things. That means we can make a correlation between the inside world and the outside world. Okay. Now there are different kinds of duties. Can you tell me the different kinds of duties? Hmm? What are the different kind of duty? Mohit. Now, I'll give you what Kant has given here so you will understand. He has based the duty towards, he has called it under three categories. Duty, positive duty. First category is positive duty. Second is negative duty. Second category, he has made duty to self, duty to others. Under the first, duty to self. Second, duty to others. And the third is, he has used direct duty, indirect duty. First one is direct, and second is indirect. Okay. So let us see what is positive duty. So he has taken this from the 10 commandments. So he says, thou shalt not kill. What kind of a duty is it? Huh? What kind of a duty is it? Hmm? What kind of a duty is? What kind of a duty is it? Have you heard the 10 commandments? 10 commandments. When we say one should not do something, which means it is prohibiting that act. So the meaning is what? It becomes negative, right? Because it is prohibiting that act. So obviously it will become a negative duty, right? It is imposing something, someone not to do something. Yes or no? Thou shalt honor thy father and thy mother. It's a positive duty because you are supposed to do that. What you are not supposed to do is negative. You understood what I'm saying? So it is a positive and negative. So Kant has categorized from the 10 commandments. The Holy Bible gives 10 commandments, and according to the 10 commandments, fourth commandment talks about parents. Okay. Sixth commandment talks, thou shalt not kill. So he has taken both these commandments. Fourth commandment, he has taken in a positive duty. Sixth commandment, he has taken under negative duty. Did you follow what I said? Okay. Now, duty to self, that means one should not kill one own self, okay, and develop one's own talent. That is the duty towards yourself. Duty towards others, not to lie to others, not to kill, torture. It is towards others. Direct duty, do not lie to someone. It is towards a person. Indirect, towards the pseudo, that is non-human beings such as animals. Okay. Indirect duty. That means you are supposed to do duty towards animals also. Did you follow what I'm saying? Yes or no? So, any doubt now? Now let us see the concept of independence and rationality given by Kant. So Kant says that God has not given us duties to follow. He says, who makes us moral beings? Rationality, our rationality. So rationality determines our nature. Thus, only through rationality we will be able to develop our duty. So rationality also determines our freedom. Okay, that means our independence. So being rational means we are independent of other factors to take a decision. So that's why it is very important to be independent when you are taking a decision. Did you follow? That is the concept of independence and rationality. So they are interlinked. Now, categorical imperative. So he takes an example from ethics given by God. So as I told you, among the 10 commandments, there are concepts that one should not lie, one should not kill others. So these tenets or these commandments given by God, they are absolute. They cannot be changed. Okay. So Kant says one cannot ask the reason why one should not do this or do this. One has to obey. One is completely bound by the duty. There is absolutely no alternative. So that is what he calls as categorical imperative. Did you follow what I'm saying? Yes or no? So the sanctions are binding. That means there are no ifs or buts. You have to obey means you have to obey. So these are absolute commands, or they are called as imperatives, and they are called as categorical imperative. One is bound to do the duty, not because it is the right thing to do, but because of the principle behind it. Followed? So what is the hypothetical imperative? I told you there are two imperatives. Obviously, consequentialist theory, okay, consequential is based on the consequence, is the hypothetical imperative. So Kant is totally against it. Categorical imperatives are absolutes, yes or no? That means you have to obey. There is absolutely no choice. Okay, it is prescriptive. It tells one what must one should do. Hypothetical imperative is based on desires. If I have a desire to do this, I will, or I will not do it. Did you follow? So we see categorically explained in the Gita when Arjun has a moral dilemma. Yes or no? What course of action to take? Whether it is good to fight his brothers or against his own family and teachers. And Krishna asks Arjun not to be worried about the good or bad consequences. Yes or no? When doing one's duty. So that is another example of deontological ethics. Did you follow what I'm saying? Here he has to fight against evil because his duty is a warrior. He belongs to the Kshatriya class. So that's why as a warrior, he's supposed to fight. Yes or no? Okay. समझ में आया कुछ या नहीं आया? हाँ. So do duties correspond with rights? आप लोग ना कुछ ऐसे मुझे देख रहे हो जैसे कि क्या है, दिव्य वाणी चल रही है अभी, हाँ? You all understood or not something? काय समजलं का नाही? की नाही नाही समजलं? मागे समजलं का? सगळं मराठीमध्ये पाहिजे तर हा? तर मराठी पुस्तक वाचायला लागणार तुला. हा? इंग्रजीतून मग सगळं खूप above the head sometimes, some words, right? So any doubt? So this completes Immanuel Kant. It is all it has been drawn from utilitarianism. Means the main principle is utilitarianism. These all have drawn their concept from there. That is the mean. Okay. Any doubt now? So now John Rawls. Now we'll look at the theory of John Rawls. So he's also a social contract thinker, as we seen yesterday, but only that he's of the 20th century. Okay, American political and ethical philosopher, important philosopher of the 20th century. So he speaks of justice as fairness. His main idea is about justice. So he has written a book called A Theory of Justice. John Rawls wrote the book. He's a 20th century thinker. Okay, A Theory of Justice. This is the book written by Rawls. So he defends the conception justice as fairness. So he says that justice cannot be derived from utilitarianism. That means based on utilitarian principles, it cannot be derived because that doctrine is consistent with undesirable forms of government in which greatest happiness, because utilitarian talks about greatest happiness of greatest number. So he says it cannot be depending on that. Okay. So he gives, because what happens, it rejects the rights of minority. Okay. So therefore, Rawls has rejected the theory of the utilitarianism. So he revives the notion of social contract. Remember, social contract thinkers, that society should enter into contract, yes or no? Yeah. So here he again goes back to that tradition and he argues that justice consists of basic principles of government, that free basic principles. That means the contract will consider basics of government, basic principles of government, in which the individuals will be free. Every person will be free and he will have a rational mind to decide. Okay. So the two conditions are the person should be free, rational individual would agree in a hypothetical situation of perfect equality. So everyone would agree. Now again, this is hypothetical. Okay, Rawls also is making a hypothetical condition. So he's saying that everyone, considering that everyone are equal. According to Rawls, he says everybody is equal. Based on that, they will come to a decision. Okay. In order to ensure that principle. So what principle should be there for the government? The principle should be fair. Everyone should receive a fair treatment. Okay. Rawls imagines a group of individuals. So he says there is all of you are a group of individuals. Okay. According to him, who have been made ignorant. You all are ignorant about the social, economic, and historical circumstances from which you have come, as well as the basic values and goals, including conception of what constitutes a good life. So that means he says he considers a group of people who are completely ignorant of the social, political, economic situation and what is good for them. So he considers all of them ignorant. He has given the concept what is called veil of ignorance. You know what is the veil, right? Parda. Veil. Okay, so he says all human beings are ignorant. I mean, he considers hypothetical that if he considers the human beings are ignorant about what is good for them, okay, they cannot be influenced by self-interested desire, but rather veil of ignorance. So they could not be influenced by self-interest desire to benefit some social group. Thus, they would not know. That means none of you would know your age, your sex, your group you belong to. Okay. None of you would know any of those things, your intelligence, your talents, your abilities. Okay. So in this original position, under this veil of ignorance, all of you are considered to be the original position where you do not know anything about anybody else. In that, you are going to make a decision. So in that, you will make decision and for which will benefit not only others, but will benefit you also at the outcome. So you will try to maximize your benefit, yes or no? Because you don't know whether you will get the benefit or not. You followed what I'm trying to tell you. What is principle of justice is. Are you following? They would not know any facts about the race, sex, age, religion, social, economic, class, wealth, income, intelligence, ability. In this original position, any group of individuals would be led by reason and what would they do? And self-interest to agree following principles. Each person is to have an equal right to the most basic liberty. That everyone should have the right to basic liberty. All, everybody, irrespective of race, caste, religion. Okay. So he said, which is compatible with the liberty of others. That means what liberty others have, even I should have, according to this position. Second, he says, social and economic inequalities are to be arranged so that they are both to the greatest benefit of the least advantaged. Social and economic inequalities are so to be arranged that they are to the greatest benefits. That means it will benefit the least advantage, according to Rawls. Okay. And attached to office and positions open under conditions of fair equality. That means everyone will be given an opportunity to contest for the offices, equality of opportunity for all. But we don't know whether we'll get that opportunity. So we are behind the veil of ignorance. So we have to make it to the maximum benefit. Did you follow? So basic liberty. Did you follow this Rawls position, original position, what he's hypothesizing? So he's saying that before the people come together to make a social contract, they are all under the veil of ignorance in the original position where they do not know nothing about others. They don't know the talent, they don't know the society, they don't know the class, they don't know the category, they don't know nothing. But rather they all have come together and then they have to make the principles which are equitable, where everyone is provide liberty, okay, and everyone is provide equality of opportunity. These two things. समझ में आ रहे हैं रॉल्स क्या बोल रहे हैं Are you following what Rawls is trying to tell? Okay. So first principle of liberty. So the basic liberty mentioned in this principle comprises most of the rights and liberties which are associated with the ideology of liberalism. Okay. So he says under this, which means what? Freedom of thought for everybody, conscience, freedom of association, right to representative government, right to form and join political parties, right to personal property, right to liberties to secure the rule of. That means these are the basic liberties which every individual will have. Did you follow? Freedom of thought, expression, freedom to join political parties, okay, freedom to right to personal property, right and liberty necessary to secure rule of law. Economic rights and liberties are freedom of contract, that means everyone has equal opportunity to compete for the public offices or private offices. You understanding what I'm saying? So all citizens should be provided with the basic needs necessary to participate in competition, including appropriate education and healthcare. You're following? Now, he says that there are two clauses. Clause A of principle 2 is known as difference principle. He has given a principle called difference principle. It requires any unequal distribution of wealth and income be such that those who are worst off are better than they would be under any other distribution. That means those who are the worst off, they should be given more privilege and preference. Equal distribution. So that means when equal distribution is made, the people who are at the worst off should also benefit maximum with that. You follow what I'm saying? That means those who are worst off will be economically independent. Did you follow? Yes or no? Any doubt now on John Rawls? Hmm? Write down. What do you understand by Kant's categorical imperative? Elaborate. लिखो question. What do you understand by Kant's categorical imperative? Categorical imperative theory. Elaborate. Give Bentham's next question. Definition of utility. Give Jeremy Bentham's definition of utility. What does give Bentham's definition of utility? What does the utilitarianism theory in ethics talk about? Give Bentham's definition of utility. What does the utilitarianism theory in ethics talk about? So with this, we have completed all the Western political thinkers. Indian thinkers, you are supposed to do now. Yeah, give definition of utility. Give Bentham's definition of utility. What does utilitarianism theory in ethics talk about? Give Bentham's definition of utility. What does utilitarianism theory in ethics talk about? Followed what I said? Yes or no? So with this, we have completed the Western moral philosophers and thinkers, Indian thinkers you are supposed to do. Followed? Any doubt? आंसर लिखना शुरू करो. See you in चलिए जल्दी जल्दी आंसर लिखिए. एनसीईआरटी है कि इधर देखो. सागर सर. Yeah. Science. Hmm.
Process means things are not said subjectively.
So you have written the answer. Huh? मराठी कोणता आहे? काय म्हणते? एथिक्स आता लँग्वेज कसं करतो? मला ते मराठी येत नाही ना, मी कसं सांगू? टेक्निकल वर्ड आहे ना, कसं सांगू? कॅटेगॉरिकल इम्पॅक्ट मराठी काय? हो गया क्या आंसर लिख के? चलो जल्दी मोहित स्टार्ट.
Bentham defines utility as our own happiness, other happiness. But same utility is in relation to experience with pleasure and pain. Utility can it talks about the one will get the happiness and get this number. It is a straightforward and tells us that utility tells that motivate for the sake of others.
झालं काय?
The Bentham utilization theory talks about utilization theory. As per here, Bentham utilization theory, people should do such work gives them happiness, pleasure, and reduce pain. The theory of Bentham is conservation. According to Bentham, in this train, everyone pain is equal and everyone pleasure is equal. And as per it comes from smoking. Bentham is also known as adolescence, who thinks about self-interest. The goal of Bentham utilization theory is not just maximizing our personal happiness, but maximizing the happiness to everyone, that everyone should be experience pleasure. For example, the COVID-19 situation, there are 6 patients, but the doctor have only 5 injections. Doctor will give injection to 5 patients, make them happiness, no matter one dies. It has to maximize the happiness.
Rati.
Every person is rational. Everyone has a different mindset according to limits. If you put everyone in same situation, everyone is going to get different decisions. That's why he says if you want to direct oneself or ourselves, through rational thinking or possible with then no feeling or emotion to direct us to get that solution because feeling and emotion have more of a it to become ethical. So there is always a reason for good or bad. Your rational mind and model is going to direct yourself or others. That's why going to get a personal ethical decision is going to decide this category.
ये कौन सा आंसर है? क्या कैटेगरी?
Personal.
The theory of categorical impairment is derived from the Emmanuel Kant. In this theory, the Kant is expressed that morality is equal to rationality. All individuals exhibit the equivalent perspective. The judgment of Kant is what is good and what bad is bad if it is acceptable. In this theory, answers are rational. People are guided by rationality, not by God. There are 3 principles are given in the category of comparative: principle of autonomy, principle of universalism, principle of correspondence. In this theory, there are following different kinds of duties. First, positive duty, negative duty. Second, duty to self, duty to others, direct duty, and indirect duty. In first category of duty, in positive duty indicates that we have to behave good with others. If, for example, respect everyone. In negative duty, we should not hurt or do bad things which is not good for others. Duty to self means we should not hurt ourselves taking care of self. In duty to others, we have to helping others and not hurting. Direct duty, the duties between direct duty. Direct duty. Indirect duty means that duty which we do for others in life.
So anyway, in the next lecture now we'll have to prepare for the next topic. What is the next topic? Attitude. So we will see attitude. Next topic. Not for today. Next lecture. Attitude. What happened? Attitude, question? No. Attitude is not old. So we will see attitude in the next lecture. So next week, attitude, aptitude, and emotional intelligence. We'll see. Mostly we might be able to complete only attitude and aptitude. Aptitude is a big topic. Attitude, aptitude, and emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. Online students, have you followed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any doubt? Take the book. So read and come in the next lecture. Then we will deal with attitude. Okay. So even the online students, attitude and aptitude. So any doubt? So you can stop the recording.